Here we go. Reading. 1.67. And starting right when action. Hi, everyone, and welcome to day 3 of the Lone Star Film Festival. I'm Chad Matthews, coming to you from the Backlot Studios in Fort Worth, Texas. Today is going to be a big day. We've got a lot of film talks. At the top of every hour, you can see a film talk from now until 7 o'clock tonight. And then, of course, we have all of our movies online streaming right now, kind of on demand. So definitely check out our content and watch some movies. So as an executive director of the Lone Star Film Society, one of my favorite parts of the job is being able to talk with filmmakers about their art, their process, and just about anything. So I'm lucky to be joined today by some filmmakers that we're going to talk about their short films. So we've got Mylissa Fitzsimmons, who's the writer and director of He's a Good Kid. We've got the writer and director Nolan Goff, who wrote and directed Bite the Hand. And we've got Logan Jackson, who's the writer and director of the short film My Hero. Welcome, everybody, to the Lone Star Film Festival.
Hi.
Thank you guys for having me.
So just to start off with, I'd love to just get your synopsis or elevator pitch of your movie, so everyone that maybe hasn't seen your film yet could get a little sense of what your movie is about, so they can then go and check it out. So let's start with Mylissa, and we'll just go down the list.
So my film is called He's a Good Kid, and it is about a mother's search for her son in the aftermath of a school shooting, and she can't find him. And what does this mean to her emotionally and the community and the kids in the school?
It's a very timely film. Yeah, it is one of those movies where you're just like, as a parent, you just think, oh my gosh. So yeah, definitely check out that film. How about you, Nolan?
Yeah, my film's Bite the Hand. I was the writer and director of it. It's set in July 1997, on the day that the rover has landed on Mars. And meanwhile, in a dust-blown California town, Janet Lee she's packing up her mom's house in preparation of a sale after her mom's death, but she can't find her mom's dog.
Yes, definitely worth a see as well. Let's go to Logan. Tell us about your film.
Hi, my film is My Hero, and it's about a single mother who makes the brash decision to leave her 2 young boys home alone while she attends a cannot miss job interview. One boy is 8, the other is 4, so it's a lot of things that go on when they're home alone, as you can imagine.
This movie, I've seen it twice, and it made me cry almost both times. It's really an emotional piece. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
So you guys are all filmmakers. You're working in the short form. Mylissa, you directed a feature. Is that correct? Okay.
Yeah.
And Nolan, you're planning to shoot a feature, or you have already shot a feature as well?
No, I have a couple of future projects that I'm in the process of pulling the financing together.
Okay. And Logan, you've done just shorts right now, and you're going to move into features eventually. Is that correct?
Yeah. Well, this is kind of like my debut on the festival circuit, so I actually want to do another short film, but I'm always writing features and other things.
Well, I wanted to talk to you or ask you guys about creating in the short form. You know, a lot of people, when I make a short film, they ask, well, why are you putting all this time and energy? Why don't you just make a feature? And I know I have reasons why I want to make a short film, but I kind of want to know why you felt like your stories were appropriate for the short form, and why make a short anyway. So Mylissa, do you want to start with that?
Sure. Well, I think whether you're making a short or a feature, it's the same amount of work and sometimes the same amount of money. I use short form filmmaking as a way to learn, challenge myself, keep growing, experiment. I didn't go to film school, so short films and making them are kind of like my film school. It also allows me to be able to experiment in different genres and be able to just kind of learn from the mistakes that I made previously and then try not to repeat them again and keep moving forward and growing as a filmmaker. So I think, short films are vital and important as filmmakers, especially those just starting out, to use them and as a tool to to become better.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's a great place to really hone your skills. Nolan, you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, I mean, I think short form filmmaking is obviously a setting for learning and for honing in on skills. I think like it definitely is like, to be honest, I think at times you think you've learned from your mistake in one short film, and then, something you wanted to change. And then even going to the next project, you can kind of subliminally, do that kind of thing again. So, I think it's a process of learning and process of kind of rehashing and kind of figuring out what your fixations are as a filmmaker as well. I've definitely kind of noticed some of those for myself. And I think the other thing about short form filmmaking is that I don't think it has to be strictly a proving ground. I mean, I think it's definitely been a exercise for me and something I've practiced. But I think, like, honestly, like, some stories just aren't, they're succinct. They happen in one afternoon over 4 hours, and they're just focused. And just like there's some you can watch a Chernobyl on HBO and it's a 5-hour series, and you wouldn't want that to be 2 hours like a condensed film. So yeah, it's a medium and it's a tool to tell a certain kind of story.
Yeah, Logan, do you agree with that? Because I feel like with your particular short film, it's a story that could only be in the short form. It's not really a feature-length film.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Mylissa and Nolan, they hit the nail on the head. I think it's used as a teaching mechanism, as like, if you didn't go to film school, you can grow from it. Some stories are better told as short film, as opposed to if you try to stretch it into features and just add senseless filler in there, which I hate when I see films do that. But for me, I think short films allow me to find my voice. As you're starting off filmmaking, you're going to kind of create what you see on TV, or create like from your favorite filmmakers. Some people try to lean toward like Tarantino or something like that. But like, as you progress and keep creating, keep failing, you kind of figure out what you like and what kind of like represents you as your voice, and that can be your calling card going forward. So for me, it helps me find my voice. The short films do.
Yeah, I love that. So speaking of, because I feel like this is really a great informative little talk, especially for filmmakers or for artists who are maybe about to take that first step in making their very first short film. So do you have any advice, or maybe one of those mistakes that you guys are mentioning that you could share with our audience about, hey, do this and don't do that, just to help them along? Because I know that all of us wish we could have had a little bit more advice when we were starting out. Mylissa, do you want to go first?
Sure. I'm still looking for advice myself. So I think for short films, I think, some of the key things that I would give advice on is, just keep it small and simple. And you don't need these big, huge budgets. And, work with people you like, and just respect each other's voices. And then when you're done shooting it, have a plan. Make a festival plan. My biggest mistake for my first short film was I had done this really small kind of piece that was super low budget. And I then proceeded not to know what to do with it. And then I just entered it into every single festival. And the next thing I knew, the budget for my submissions was more than the budget for a short film. So just have a plan afterwards, and just do it. Just go ahead and do it.
Yeah, Nolan, any thoughts to add with that?
Yeah, I would say I think being succinct is important. I think, like, because the reference point for so many of us as filmmakers is movies. It's 3-act structure. It's a lot of characters. It's a lot. Themes are very present, and motifs are very present. I think that there can be a tendency, and I don't know if it's a mistake, but I certainly have had the tendency to try to condense like kind of a 3-act, something that should be a 3-act feature-length film into a short form. And I think that there's just a more succinct version that works inside of the short medium. It probably means like telling the second act story or choosing the first act and finding what's interesting about those things. And just being really focused. I think that's certainly important.
Logan, you mentioned trying to fail, or not trying to fail, but failing and learning from those failures. Do you have an example of that happening for you?
Yeah, that happens pretty much every film. Like, I mean, there's like, I can't remember who said this quote, but it kind of stuck with me. It's the film that you write, the film that you shoot, and then ultimately the film you end up with, because it always changes through all phases of production, and a film is never perfected. It's just abandoned at some point. So a film, like when I watch My Hero and people love it and everything, and I'm sure it's a lot for other filmmakers as well. When we see the film, we're kind of seeing the mistakes that we made. We're seeing the flaws in it, and it's kind of hard to see the beauty in it because we've seen it so many different times, and we're kicking ourselves like, oh, I'm never making that mistake again. But I think for every film that I go through, like, there's different mistakes. One example for My Hero was we didn't really plan too well when it came to permits and everything like that. So we actually got shut down by the police at a train station where we was trying to shoot at. So that was a mistake that I probably won't make again. Just got to be more knowledgeable with the permits and whatnot. But there's mistakes on every film that you learn from.
Without a doubt. Filmmaking is a collaborative art form, and you really do have to build a tribe of people to follow in your vision. How difficult is doing that, and especially if you're living in a place where you maybe don't know as many folks? I mean, how did you find your tribe, and how do you know if they're the right people to help you get to the place to have the product that you want to produce? Let's switch it up. I'll go with Nolan first to kind of lead us into that.
Yeah, I mean, I think the starting point was I went to film school. I was fortunate to get to do that in Los Angeles, which is where I live now, and I think that was like a good starting point, and a good way to build a tribe initially. I mean, a lot of these positions are just like and people that you work with and collaborators. It's like little marriages, and you're trying to find the right fit. I don't know if there's. I think the more you go through stuff together, I think the more you develop an affinity for one another and that bond and a secondhand language over time that I think is something that emerges, and I've certainly benefited from. I know my DP on Bite the Hand, Sean Conti, he's an amazing DP, and I just owe so much to him. He shot my last short film as well, which played at Lone Star, and I think that these little marriages, and you kind of you date for a while, and then you decide to be more committed to each other after you've gone through some stuff together. And I don't know if there's like a path for that, but I think just find the people that like what you like, that don't like what you like, so that they bring some differing perspective into it. But I think central to it is like I'm always looking for people who are storytellers, and whether that's production designer, or DP, or even a producer. Like I really want to work with fellow storytellers who can read a script and understand it and grasp what's important about it, and also like point out stuff and provide like really honest feedback. I think that's an important aspect of it as well. Honesty and candor. You see that in a marriage too, where it's like I think candor matters, and just being really honest with one another is an important dynamic to have.
Mylissa, how did you find your tribe when you make these movies?
I think in the beginning for me, it was you kind of just work with whoever you know. And then as I kind of progressed on from film to film, I was able to really kind of determine like who I was as a filmmaker and what I needed. And so that kind of meant a lot of trial and error of finding error and trying to find the right people to work with. Some people stuck, some people just didn't, it's not for lack of talent. It was just of the way that I would like to work. And as I kind of progressed more and more, I think it was really important for me to kind of take a little bit more risks on newer people. It's kind of important for me to kind of have a crew and a cast that's a little bit more inclusive and diverse. And so just like how there was a moment where I need people to take a chance on me, even though I may not have had the experience, I feel that there's people out there that they're ready to take the next step up. And so I kind of try to always bring that into every project, trying to find people who need that to go up to that next level. Sometimes it's worked, sometimes it hasn't. But I know that if I don't try, then I'll never know. So when it comes to shorts, I mean, I work with so many different people, and it really comes down to just who wants to work with me and who wants to work with the specific story that I'm telling, and then just kind of go from there. There are a few key people that I keep going back to, and I think as I keep growing and doing more projects, those people will become part of my group and my go-to people. But I'm always open to work with new people wherever and whoever. So I don't really know. I don't really have a tribe.
No, I think you do. I mean, you've got a small group of core people that you probably work with consistently, and then you're
I've had the same producer on the last 3 projects, and when it came to making my first feature, I went back to, if I was only going to get one opportunity and if I was only going to do it once, that I wanted to work with people that I knew and trust. So on the first feature, I went back 20 years of people that I knew for 20 years going, well, I know that we may not have worked together, but we've known each other. And you know me and I know you, and I trust you, and we can yell at each other and not take it personally. Yeah. So, yeah, so for the first feature, it was like that. I went to people that I've known and who I have worked with. So it was a small crew, and I know, and we had a lot to do for a little amount of time and a little amount of money. So I needed to make sure that those people weren't necessarily lifting me up, but we were lifting each other up. And it worked out to my benefit. I'm really proud of all of them and the work that they did. But with shorts, I like to work with different people on each project. But I have had the same producer for the last 4 projects. So,
Logan, do you prefer to work with the same people, or do you try to find new talent all the time?
Actually, I've never worked with the same people consistently. I mean, what I tend to do is, I mean, it's LA. Everybody's so busy, so it's kind of hard to really get the same kind of team members back. But I found all my people just through Craigslist, honestly. Like for My Hero, it was just all random people from Craigslist. It was people that age ranged from 19 all the way to 60, and from different backgrounds and different races. But the thing about that is, like, we're able to come together collectively for one purpose. And my process is very simple. I meet with everybody like one-on-one. It doesn't matter if you're a PA or if you're an AD. I meet with you. I take you out to dinner. I explain to you the process and what we're trying to achieve with this project. I tell you about my passion for it and how much I love it and how much I would love for you to come on board. And I treat a lot of people with, well, everybody, I treat them with respect, you know, and they buy into that, and they buy into me most of all. And that's what it is. Like, I let them know this isn't my film. This is our film. I cannot make this by myself. I need you, you know? So everybody wants to be a part of something great, something like selfless. Nobody really wants to work for like a dictator or something like that. So it was a very collaborative team effort, and I couldn't have done it without them. And they're just great people. They're amazing people. You know, it could be socially awkward at times, but you know, they're still great people.
That's awesome, man. I'd come hold a boom mic for you, I think.
Awesome, man. Yeah, hey, come on.
You know? I make really great coffee, but I'm never on Craigslist, so
we're ready to crew you up, man.
That's awesome right there, man. I don't worry, I'll take you guys to a nice dinner.
All right.
Well,
it's a date. I wanted to get just one specific question about each of your films, and 2 of you have really incredible music in it, and then one of you, Mylissa, your film doesn't have music. It has sound. It has some sound effects. But I wanted to ask you, Mylissa, first, your decision to have a short film that has no composition, no soundtrack, no. I mean, I think it's really appropriate for your story. But what was your take on that?
Good question. I knew from the very beginning that I wanted like a claustrophobic sound design. I wanted a panic, and I knew I wasn't going to find that in music. One, because I couldn't afford music, and two, I think music would have softened the panic, if that makes any sense. So we opted from the very beginning. My collaborator on that project was the DP, Lila Stryker, and she's also the producer. And we spoke from the very beginning, like we wanted these kind of intense sounds to kind of mimic her emotional feelings. And so the only way to do that was through sound design. So that's where we opted to do. And Kirby Sace, who she does all of the sound, she got it right away. She loved it. There were a few things where I was like, whoa, not that crazy, but she did it like so quick and so fast. And I think maybe because she knows what panic feels like, I don't know. But yeah, it was a decision early on. And I often, to be fair, I mean, I often don't really use music in short films that much. And it's always been a financial decision. But this was a film where we made the decision early on specifically that there was going to be no music. So it was nice to be able to make that creative choice, to have it be a creative choice and not a financial choice. So.
Mm-hmm. Very cool. Logan, the music at the end, and I'm not going to give anything away. I mean, it's really haunting, and I think that's probably why I was crying. It was the music. How did you find this music? How did you incorporate this into the film? Because it's really nicely done.
Thank you. I knew, and this kind of goes full circle. So the last project I did, the last short film, which nobody would ever see, but the last short film, I really botched it on the music and the score and whatnot, man. Like I put all my budget into the visuals and making it look beautiful. And then when we played it, it was like, oh, wow, this sounds horrible. This is pretty bad. And so that just really heightened my senses for the next film. For My Hero, I was like, no, this time a lot of my budget is going towards the music and towards the sound design. So I'm not skipping or cutting any corners on that. So I reached out to I like to study a lot of different things. So I researched short films, and I've seen like the Oscar nominated short films and whatnot. And 3 of the short films that I've seen, they all had a similar path, being that the composer was the same for all those short films. Like this composer did all 3 short films for the Oscar nominated short films. And I was like, wow, this guy is amazing. Like it's drama and it's hitting me and it's like making me tear up. Like this score is just such amazing job, well done. So I reached out to him on Instagram. I found out his Instagram. I reached out to him. I told him I was doing this short film called My Hero. I didn't think he would respond, but somehow he did. And I sent him, he was like, yeah, sure, whenever, just send me the first cut and we'll go from there. I sent him the first cut and he was like, dude, that is amazing. That's right up my alley. Like I want to make a score to this right now. And he literally did the score in like 48 hours and it was just magnificent. He's Gavin Breivik is his name. He's just incredible composer. So I was lucky.
That's very cool. Very cool. Nolan, so I wanted to ask if you were thinking about the sound from, say, Punch Drunk Love or There Would Be Blood, because there was like this intensity when she's walking on the street. So how did you find this music and get this to be a part of your film?
Yeah, so the starting point for that really is like Janet Leigh is a character who I think her life is one of instability. It's a life of stability when she's around her son. It's something she tries to project to him and project into his life, and then instability when she's away from him. And so what you're hearing in that, I think, is the syncopation, this discordant kind of cadence of the notes. And that was something that felt very like it reflected that instability. And so that was something that I definitely was chasing down with the composer. Her name's Hannah Parrott, just incredible. And I honestly, with this film, I think the music is probably, there's a lot that I love about it, but music just like is something I'm really proud of within this film, and that's all credit to Hannah. But other things we talked about is it's kind of a caper film in a way, and Janet Leigh's on this search, and her mom's also named her Janet Leigh, and she's named the dog Grace Kelly. Her mom, who's now deceased, kind of has this fixation with old Hollywood, and so it made sense to kind of go back to some Hollywood kind of caper films. So we looked at some Jerry Goldsmith stuff from Chinatown and LA Confidential and that kind of thing. I think Inherent Vice as well is definitely one. So that's probably where you're hearing that Punch Drunk and There Will Be Blood kind of thread, because it's something that PTA likes to use a lot. But and then finally, the mom is like never seen on camera outside of a photo, and so I really wanted to give her some kind of sonic cue that was almost like her ghost, and so it was something that me and Hannah were like chasing and trying to find, and like we didn't know where it was going to come from. And we tried a lot of different things. We even tried like some steel guitar and stuff, and didn't really land anywhere that like we felt like totally good about. And then I was thinking back to being on set and thinking about the desert. We shot it in Victorville, California. And I remembered wind chimes. Everyone had wind chimes. And so that was kind of like a little kind of recurring kind of motive throughout these subtle kind of wind chimes, kind of buried in the score that kind of would conjure the mom's ghost in a way. So, but yeah, we were playing with a lot of different stuff, and I'm just really proud of how it came together.
Yeah, you should be. It's great, and I even like the nod to Oasis there with the singing. All right, so now I'm going to get into like game show host style, because we're going to do 5 questions. I don't know if you guys have been watching any of our Meet the Filmmakers, but we've been doing these 5 questions, and each of you are going to have to answer the 5 questions. So we'll just go one at a time. I'll just go from Mylissa to Nolan to Logan, and the first question is going to be favorite filmmaker.
Kelly Reichardt.
I would say Richard Linklater.
I gotta go Spike Lee.
I mean, a movie theater, but I guess currently in my bed.
I mean, it's gotta be movie theaters, preferably at Sundance Square.
Yeah, the old Beverly theater out here that shows the 35mm films. I love that theater.
I'm sorry, I have not been sane at all during this.
You don't have to be sane right now. We're in a pandemic.
Okay. You know what's been really nice is like the rare opportunities of when there's not a fire, walking outside.
Actually, running. I've gotten hooked on running. I don't always love it, but it makes me feel good. And I read What I Talk About When I Talk About Running by Murakami, because I was on a big Murakami kick, and he gave me the bug.
I'm with you.
I always see your posts, like you're always out there just like cranking out the miles.
I've been hitting it during the pandemic because it's my only outlet. It's been rough. Okay, Logan, what's kept you sane during the pandemic?
I like to work out outside now, barefooted. It kind of realigns my chi, so that's what I enjoy now.
All right, where does everyone find their creative inspiration?
Normally I'm a big person who just people watches, and I find people to be really creative and inspiring. But everyone's kind of locked up right now. So lately I've just been finding creative inspiration, I guess, through the Criterion Channel.
I mean, everywhere for sure, but there's 2 activities I think are always linked to it. Is honestly in the shower. and then also driving. I think that there's just something really meditative about both of those places. Both are places that it's hard to write something down in. So you got to kind of hold on to it though.
Yeah, I think everywhere as well. But what I like to do is like watch movies and then kind of relate it to my life. So lately I've been watching Krzysztof Kieslowski, and his trilogy has really just been hitting me hard. So lately there.
Three Colors.
Three Colors, and also short film
Chocolate.
about a killing. Yeah, camera
Dang,
buff
man.
as well.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, last question, because Lone Star Film Festival does take place in Fort Worth. Cowboy hat or cowboy boots? Starting with Mylissa.
So I'm going to say the cowboy hat that I bought last time when I was in Hill Country. So cowboy hat.
Cowboy hat, an open road Stetson specifically.
You know, I gotta go with the boots. My father always said a good pair of boots will take you a long way. So cowboy boots for me.
That's awesome. Well, guys, I think we're out of time, but I really do appreciate you, of course, submitting your films to us, creating this great art. Please continue to do it. We need it now in this world more than ever. So, folks, if you haven't seen either or any of these short films, please check them out. They're playing through the Lone Star Film Festival through Sunday, and you can find them on our website. So thank you all so much for being here. And well, hopefully we'll see you at the next film festival in person, right? Right?
Yes.
For sure, for sure.
All right. Thank you. And
Thanks, Chad.
have a great day.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.